Well, what's up, everyone? Back for a huge episode tonight. We are blessed with the presence of the 12th round pick made by the Toronto Blue Jays today, Riley Tirotta. Riley, how are we doing tonight?
Doing well, guys. Happy to have me on, and just really excited.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Definitely can be excited. So let's get back. So today it happened. Everything happened. What was that feeling like? Did you get a call from your agent? Like what all? Go through how everything went down.
Yeah. So the last couple of days, we just been watching the draft and talking to my agent. And he's kind of been handling things when it comes to like talking to scouts and talking to the programs and the organizations. And yeah, man, we just, we've gotten a few calls over the last day or two. I was hoping to go yesterday, but ended up not working out with, just the deals and stuff. And, my agent worked real hard to get me a deal today. And it worked out to wait one more day and go on the third day of the draft. I was hoping to go in the first 10 rounds, but didn't work out that way. And, we got a good deal today and took it. I'm real excited with it. And, it worked out well.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, you talked about how you're hoping to go in the first 10 rounds. Like round 8, 9, and 10, were you kind of getting a little antsy? Like, what were you feeling on that way? Because, I was looking at your college stats. Like, you easily could have won in the first 10 rounds, in my opinion, just looking off of that. But it was a weird draft. Like, the Angels drafted 20 pitchers with all 20 picks. Like, that's pretty insane. So, what was your feeling? Like, were you getting a little anxious and everything? Because, that's always tough, dealing with all that.
No doubt. Yeah, it was stressful, man. We've been sitting around, the living room the last 2 days. Obviously, I knew didn't have a chance to go in the first round and the first day of the draft. But 2 through 10 was the second day, and I was projected around the 6th round, 7th round area, and so yeah, we were sitting there. Didn't hear anything for the first 6 rounds, and then I got a call from a couple other teams, and they were just offers we turned down right away. It wasn't right for me in the time being, and so it was like up until those two calls around the 8th and 9th round, I was freaking out.
Yeah, for sure.
Seeing the spots that I was projected in. Not having a call up until then, or just a few calls here and there. Would you take this? And we're like, yeah, we'll take it. So, you see a spot where a team sees you fit, and a spot that you already accepted, and that spot comes and goes, and somebody else's name is in that spot. So you're pretty on edge the whole time. You see a team. A team will call you and will say, hey, will you take X amount of dollars in the 9th round? So you're like, yeah or no,
Right.
Yesterday, but it has happened before where it's like, yeah, we'll take X amount of dollars in the 6th round. So you're sitting there, you're refreshing the page, you're listening to the draft online or on the TV or whatever. It was on MLB.com for the last couple of days, so we had to watch it on that, and we got it all set up. But you see the spot that you accept the offer in, and that spot comes and another name's there. So you're just like starting over again, waiting for another call, So, yeah, it was taxing mentally, sitting there all day and hoping and waiting. And then, spots come and go. And next thing you know, the day's over with nothing. So, and you're going into the third day hoping that you'll get picked in the last day of the draft. So, yeah, it was stressful to say the least.
Yeah, and like you said, you just kind of wait around, and it doesn't happen. Then you got to wake up, do it all again the next day. But the Blue Jays, in my opinion, got a steal. So hopefully it all works out, and you can go to the Blue Jays and tear it up. They got a good young team and everything. So
yeah, it's a great organization. The minor leagues, when it comes to an organization, something you look at as a player is are there minor league like teams and, you know, player development? And is that like a good fit for you? And everything I've heard about the Blue Jays is top of the line. You know, all their facilities are brand new, and they have great player development staff, and you know, so it's a good place to come up and work your way through the minor leagues.
For sure, for sure. So, based off of that, then, what in your baseball career? Because I mean, you've been playing your whole life. Nagy texted me. He's very sad he couldn't be on this podcast. But he has to work tonight. But he was like, oh, he can handle whatever. My dad drafted him first overall at the age of 10, like all this stuff. But when did you first start thinking about like the MLB? When did that become like obviously in the back of your head growing up as a kid, you're always like, that's your main goal. But like realistically, it's like less than 1% of kids who play a sport ever make it to the major leagues in that respected sport. So when was it like an actual thing for you where you're like, damn, I'm very good at this. And, you know, this is a realistic option for me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, any little leaguer sees a big leaguer game. You know, you want to play in the big leagues when you grow up. And, I mean, that's been it for me since as long as I can remember. I wanted to play professional baseball, and you know, but there comes a time to where you're like, all right, I think I can do something with this. And for me, that came like later in my sophomore year. You know, I struggled as a freshman, so I was like, okay, but you know, at Marion, I had success, and obviously, I didn't get picked out of high school there. And but yeah, like sophomore year, I played up in the Cod League, and I mean, it's pretty much best of the best up there. You're facing any SEC arm, you know, anyone who's up there, and the hitters are all legit. You know, I played with first round guys who were on my team, and so you're in pretty good waters if you're playing up there. You know, when it comes to the names you're surrounding yourself with, and so like then I was like, all right, you know, played up here and in the Cape, and you know, I went back to school, and after that it was like I was having meetings left and right that whole fall, my junior year fall before the last year's draft. So I was like, yeah, you know, this is pretty realistic now, and it's just a matter of, you know, when, not if, in my opinion. That's kind of when it's been like that. So, you know, early junior year, you know, very late my sophomore summer.
Okay.
I want to say first off, congrats, Riley, but I have a question as well. What really helped you kind of turn the tables as far as batting average goes from your junior year to your senior year? I see you increased quite a bit and came out with 16 home runs your senior year. Looks like it tied your conference for first overall. What do you think helped you?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of had, you know, I've been working on different things the last couple of years, you know, when it comes to my swing and, you know, my approach in the box and things like that. And for me, it just took a little bit more time to, you know, dial that in than maybe some other guys. But my freshman and sophomore year, I struggled. Sophomore year, I had a decent year, you know, good enough to play up in the Cape. And junior year, you know, we only played 20 games last year. I had like 50-some at-bats or something like that. And so, you know, from last year to this year, I didn't get off to a good start last year. And then I got off to a brutal start this year. Like 20 games in, you know, I was like, all right, I need to change something. My buddy, my roommate, actually, Mariano Ricciardi, he just got picked up by the Athletics in the 18th round today. So props to him. Shout out to him. His dad is, you know, JP Ricciardi. He's a big baseball guy. You know, he's a assistant GM for the Giants. He's in Moneyball. You know, he's a part of that whole team. And he knows a lot about the game. And you know, he called me and we set up a Zoom. And you know, he went through a couple different things in my swing that he saw. And you know, and then talking to my Dayton coaches, obviously, and some of my roommates, you know, who are big baseball guys. They noticed some things, and you know, I got lower in my setup and in my stance, and it allowed me to stay in my legs a lot better. And after that, and you know, with the help of Mr. Ricciardi and you know, my roommates and coaches and things like that, you know, teammates, and it's kind of like a group effort, honestly, more than just myself. You know, obviously, you have to do things that make you feel comfortable. And it was a little uncomfortable at first, but man, as soon as I made those adjustments this year, about 20 games in, I took off, and the stats started shooting up, and home runs and in-game power went through the roof. And so I'm thankful for the help of those guys, and just being able to put what they helped me get through, and put that to the test in the game, and ended up having pretty good success with it.
Yeah, like you said, though, you had a group effort of getting through it. Baseball kind of reminds me in terms of hitting or even pitching, kind of like golf, where it's a very mental and it's like a one-on-one thing. Obviously, baseball is a team game, but like a lot of it is one-on-one. Like you are just facing the pitcher. A golfer is going out hitting by himself, and it's very mental. Like, does there sometimes, like when you said you got off to a brutal start this senior year, where it's like you're better than this? Like, I mean, you think maturity, like you have to be very mature in that aspect, because if you're an 18-year-old, you're like, I'm way better than this. I should have been drafted, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you don't get past that and it affects you. But, like, you were 22 at the time. Do you think, like, the maturity and everything of it and, like, being through everything, like, that helped you just kind of be like, all right, screw this. I know I'm good. Let's get through this.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good point, too, because, as a freshman, sophomore, you're like, all right, I had success with this in high school. You're like, it's bound to work somehow, my swing in this sense. Like, you're obviously taking like suggestions and, help from coaches, and you're listening to that obviously, and you're trying to work through it. But, this year was like kind of came time where it was like, almost halfway through the season and I wasn't having success. And, you got to put your pride to the side and, be mature with things when it comes to that. And, just making an adjustment is never easy. And, it might not be something you agree with, but at the time I was like, I'm going to try it. And yeah, I think maturity helped with that too. Just sticking to something, even if it might not have the best results, something that somebody who in the baseball world is greater than me, he's seen better players, he's seen big leaguers and things like that, and seen the stuff that he was telling me worked. And, I think that was, like a maturity thing came into play with that to really like sticking to it, even though I wasn't having success, and, kind of riding it out.
I feel like coachability and mental durability played a huge part in that then.
Yeah, I mean, baseball is extremely mental. But the good thing about baseball, it's good and bad, because you might be 0 for 4, but you have an opportunity to play the very next day. When it comes to football or a sport like that, you play once a week.
Right.
You have a little bit more time to make adjustments. But I mean, in baseball, you could go 0 for 4, and you have the next time go 0 for 4 and even have a worse game, I'd say. So it mental. I think just playing longer, and if the longer you play, the better mentally you get. And that's just something that comes with playing more and aging when it comes to the game.
Yeah, for sure. So you talk about the Cape Cod League. What was that like? I've seen people talk about it all the time. Is that kind of like the best summer league?
Yeah, I mean, that's like when they talk about summer baseball, there's leagues all over the country, and, there's tons of good leagues. You got leagues in Michigan in the South, but the one league that everyone knows, and, that's kind of like where you want to be is, in the Cape Cod League. I mean, every big leaguer who went to college played the Cape League. Chris Sale was on my first team up there, Ian Happ, and the list goes on and on. Walker Buehler, everyone, they all played in that league. So it was a very prestigious league, and it's a good place to find yourself. Absolutely, definitely a very humbling experience up there. You're facing the best of the best every single night, and it never gets any easier. And that's where I grew a lot mentally too. Is failing up there, and then kind of just being able to bounce back and learn from guys who are more talented or more polished than you are. You learn from those guys.
For sure. What was I gonna ask? Oh, so you just get to chill in Cape Cod though all summer? Like you finish your college season, you go there, you go to Cape Cod, you play baseball, but you're just in Cape Cod all summer. Like that's a pretty sweet gig.
Yeah, you're legit. It's so fun. I mean, I stayed in a house on the ocean, man, for the first 2 months that I was up there, and you got to play every day, and you get off days, but it's unbelievable. You're staying in the ocean. You go to the beach whenever you can. It's pretty sick. Yeah.
You taking a St. Patty's Day at the ghetto or a week in Cape Cod?
I honestly, it was unfortunate because I
Your
didn't have
season, yeah.
very many chances, yeah, to get to experience St. Patty's Day. But um, the smart answer for me would be to say just a relaxing day on Cape Cod. But hey, a good time. It's always fun too.
Yeah, that's for sure. My last question is going to be for you. What MLB player do you think you play like / who did you admire growing up, or even right now, like who do you try to mirror your game after?
Yeah, I think I mean, growing up, I was a Jeter fan. I always played short until I got to college, so I was a huge Jeter fan. And then, I mean, I like watching Chris Bryant. I think some people, kind of compare him and I, or me to him.
That's what Nagy said.
Yeah, so I've heard that player comp before from me to him. I really like watching Anthony Rendon hit he was on the Nationals for a while. He might be on the Angels now, but
Yep.
I'm a fan of his. Just the way the game is played is like nowadays it's kind of like go big or go home. Throw it hard and hit it far. That's basically like where the game's going. But that dude obviously can hit the ball far, but he also kind of sticks to the roots of baseball and can hit the ball backside. Hit a ball on the ground through the right side of the infield for a hit. He's a very artsy hitter and kind of puts more of an art to hitting rather than just swinging for the fences every time, which I respect, and that's something I always want to be able to do, and that's kind of what longevity in the game is going to give you, is if you can do that.
For sure.
So I got kind of a two-part question here. What's the best baseball advice that you have ever been given that really helped you elevate your game? And what advice could you offer to a younger individual who's looking to follow in your footsteps?
That's a good question. I'll start with, just the younger, giving advice to a younger guy is just, for me, you're not always going to have success. And that's not what it's about. Obviously, you need to perform to get to where you want to be, to play at a high level. But you really have to trust the process, and it's a very cliche thing to say, is trust the process. But, you really have to, because I didn't have success all of my college career. I had a lot of ups and downs, but, you keep working. You always keep your goals in mind, what you want to do with the game, and then just continue to work towards those goals no matter what's happening. If you're not playing well, you're not just going to quit, so you have a bad season. That doesn't mean you can't go off the next season and, put yourself back into a good position. And that's kind of something that I learned from is, I didn't have a good year last year. I didn't end up getting drafted last year when I had a really good chance to. But, that was because of my poor performance in the first 20 games of the season last year. But, I kept the goal in mind. I wanted to be my goal for the beginning of the season was to be a top 10 round draft pick. And, I fell a little bit short of it, but I'm all right with falling a little bit short. And if that means I'm going to be a 12th rounder, so, that's I can give to a younger guy. And that advice has been passed down to me from coaches and players that have played for a long time and guys who have been around the game at a very high level for a long period of time is, things aren't always going to go your way, but, you have to be open to coaching. You have to be open to learning new things, and, you just have to stick to it. And, always set goals is something that has been like given to me. In baseball, it's a little harder. If you're always thinking about your batting average and things like that, you're not going to do well if you're doing poorly at the time. You're like, oh, I got to get 2 hits and then I'll be hitting 300. That's not a good way of thinking. But if you write down your goals at the beginning of the year, you can kind of keep tabs on where you're at. I might need to work harder at, seeing the ball better and swinging at better pitches so I can, get on base more. If you're not scoring the ball up well, if you're swinging at bad pitches because you're so antsy, you have to dial it back and, focus on swinging at strikes and taking your walks. And so that's something that's been passed down to me. That's really good advice that I've taken from coaches and former players and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. And that's actually a very good point. Like you said, it is very cliche, and I think everyone, when they hear that, they're just like, oh, you just gave me an easy answer. But like you said, I think you're the perfect example of you did struggle at certain points of your college career, but you use that to help you out to get to this point and all that kind of thing. And so I think that's a very, very solid answer. My last question I'm a Marion alum. Does Marion High School not have the worst field ever?
Yeah, it could use some updates. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So once you make it big, maybe that can
wasn't.
be.
There's some pretty bad. Yeah, there's some pretty bad fields in the area, man.
Are there?
At times, yeah. Marion's not the worst, but it could use some help.
Yeah, I feel that. But hey, man, we appreciate it. We're thankful that you came on, man. Congratulations once again, and we're definitely going to keep an eye out for you. I know Nagy's like your biggest fan, man. He's very upset he couldn't make it, but maybe next year at the middle of the year we can have you on again. But once again, congrats, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you guys for having me on.
Congrats, man.
Yep, thank you.
For sure.